Hey there, I'm Lara, and I want to help you have a healthy low back. Now, there are many things that help your low back be healthy, but I'm going to just give you a few tips here that will help you on the way there for sure. And one of them is to not put pressure on the low back, to understand how to get that pelvis more neutral as you move. So if you have a yoga block, we'll be using it. If you don't, you won't be using it. That's okay, you don't need it. And then I just have a basic sweatshirt here. You can have a towel. This will be helpful for giving some feedback. So healthy low back really starts with posture. And when I talk about posture, a real easy way of remembering it is finding the triple S: skull, scapula, and sacrum. These are the primary curves of your spine. And when they're aligned, everything else should be pretty kosher. So let's work on that lying on your back. It's great to do this on the ground or on the wall because you have feedback. You can tell where you are because you can feel it. Can you get your skull on the floor? Can you get the scapula on the floor? And the sacrum, that's the lowest part, it's right above the tailbone. If you feel any one part of that having a hard time coming, like sitting into the floor, that might affect your low back. It doesn't have to be muscles just around your low back to affect your low back. It could be your neck muscles. So you can use your block in a variety of ways. Like sometimes I'll put the block under my skull to stretch out and open up the neck. So the triple S here, even though I'm not quite in alignment, I still have pressure in those areas and I'm opening up the neck in that way. But finding this and just refinding it over and over daily, it's going to help you so much, especially to avoid any low back things. So sliding your skull away, plant your hands on your thighs. Make sure your feet are not too close to you. You want to really be able to push down and lift straight up with the pelvis. So think of a pelvis like an elevator shaft going up. It's not going to go forward toward the knees or upward toward my shoulders. So I can put my hands on my thighs or put them right on the front of the pelvic points, and I want to lift the hips up. So the pelvis is staying where it is. I'm not driving into my shoulders or the knees. It's a low bridge. Get the glutes going. You should tap on the glutes, make sure they're working, and that the low back has maintained its length. This is called a waffle iron effect. Put your right hand on the front and your left hand on the back of your, front and back of the body, and then pull them together. This is the feeling your low back craves, is this pulling into the central axis of the body. The more you can hold that support, the less load you'll experience in your low back. Keep doing that, but just bring your legs out and in, like a little flapping, like little tiny butterfly wings, but nothing else is doing it. It's movement from the hip joint. Moving well in the hips is crucial for the health of the low back. You can take your hands out to the side and just continue to just out and in here, holding the abdominals in strong, and then stop that flapping and lower from the base of your rib cage really slowly and segmentally, like you're trying to just tiptoe the spine down and get some extra length in the low back. Now bring your hands behind your head. A healthy back is also going to be really supported by the front abdominals, not just the six-pack. We want all of the abdominal wall contributing. So imagine the entire kind of circle of this front of the body drawing together and pulling down toward the spine. Cup your skull, inhale, exhale, lift up off the shoulders. Hold like that. So this is not about coming way up, but you also don't want to be down on the shoulder blades because then you're not recruiting the deep abdominals. Lift up and then inhale and lower. Exhale and lift up. So a healthy low back is about recruiting these abdominals and being able to move at the hip, independent of the back. So lift your left knee over the left hip, put the foot down, lift the right knee over the right hip, put the foot down, and then lower the shoulders and head. Exhale, lift up. Not pulling on the head. See how I'm squeezing my elbows in, leaning the skull back into my hands. Right knee over the right hip. It's like a little march. Left knee over the left hip. Bring it down. Inhale and lower. Exhale and lift again. Left knee over the left hip. And you can pick up the pace of this a little bit, holding the core strong. Low back is protected. We're not pushing the low back down, but we're also not arching it. And then inhale and lower. Last time, exhale and lift. And then you use your hands if you're struggling. Put the hand on the on the belly, push down like that waffle iron effect. And then start moving. Right hip, right hip, and left. Holding that down. And release. Good. Oh, one thing before we come up, grab your sweatshirt, towel, or something, and if you can always come back to this later if you don't have one with you. But if you feel like you're having a hard time with that abdominals, you can put something underneath your sacrum, all right? That's not your lumbar spine, which has an arch. And just practice not lifting, but pressing into the sweatshirt, the towel, so it's almost like a little pelvic tilt. I'm not using my glutes, but I'm pulling down, and I'll feel a bit of, like I would want to tilt, but I'm not going into full tilt. It's more of pulling the front of the body down into that material, and that just helps for people who, quite frankly, have just not worked this area in a while. So, you need feedback. So use that as feedback. All right, come around onto all fours. And we really want to find that neutral pelvis with the core happening here. Shoulders are over the wrist. Here's the triple S. All right, you can put a hand behind the head, lift your skull up, and then hold the skull up. I don't want to overly round the shoulders because that will impact that alignment. Keep that all in alignment. And then slide your left leg back. Don't round the shoulders, but lift your left leg up. Holding strong there. Reach the right arm by your right ear. This is called bird dog in the PT world. Really holding this alignment. This is so good for the whole body, but especially getting that healthy low back. So you're not collapsing anywhere. Holding this right hip strong. Put the right hand down. Left knee comes in underneath you. Make sure your knees are close enough to your hands, because if you start off away, you're going to be more likely to tilt and arch the back. Lift the front of the throat, right leg slides back, keep the right glute firm, float the right leg up. Hold there, make sure the waist of the abdominals is lifted, left arm reaches. Stay really strong in that right arm. If you feel any pinching in the low back, lower your right leg, lift your left hip, and hug your belly in. Left hand comes down, and right knee comes down. Now we'll lift and hover the knees, and then pike your pelvis straight up, then start to move weight into the feet without unweighting the hands. So the same amount of weight is in there. This is a wonderful way of getting into down dog, because we often just get into down dog from a habit where it maybe just collapse or round. We want to keep that length in your back, in your low back. Keep the strength in your shoulders and your abdominals. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Try one more of those, really finding space in the back body, especially around the rim of the pelvis, by holding the abdominals firm. And then step your left foot forward a little ways, lower the right knee. So you're coming up into a low lunge, and here's that waffle iron with the right hand in front, left hand in back. I want the right glute directly over the knee, and pull this together and almost like waffle iron it and lift up. So you're getting space for the low back. You're getting space for the right hip. Keep that waffle iron effect. Reach the right arm by the right ear and lift and side bend, but hold the front end, work the right glute. And one more breath there. And then float back up, hands to the floor, Come back into down dog, but lift the pelvis up and then slide your left leg back. So you're not thinking back into the feet as much as up into the pelvis, opening the low back. And then slide your right foot forward, lower the left knee. And this might be a tighter lunge than you're used to, but it's really helpful for establishing your posture, that triple S. And then we'll waffle iron here, left hand in front, right hand in back. Also that suctions together and up. I'm not sucking in my belly. I'm drawing in toward the spine. Left arm reaches up. Hold the right glute firm. Side bend to the right. And then come back up from there. Good. And then bring the hands to the floor and hope that was awesome. I hope that your low back feels like more spacious. That's what we're really going for. Better posture is going to set us up for more optimal movement, and that's going to help our back stay healthy and happy. So until next time, keep moving.